is Seema and I am back with a new lesson on what to do before, during and after a job interview. Well, a lot of you are probably doing a lot of run around for job interviews, and I know your anxiety because you want to bag that interview. You want to bag that job that you so desire. Well, I will give you a few tips, a few basics as to what you need to do and what you need to avoid before, during and after an interview. We will begin with the first point, which is good appearance. Well, why is it good? Why is it necessary to have a good appearance for that matter? Or like they say, the first impression is the last impression, which means you need to leave a lasting impression on your potential employer. Well, you need to make sure about the clothing. So when you pick your attire, you need to make sure that it is well suited to the day of your interview, which means it has to be formal. Whether you're a man or a woman, you've got to stick to formal clothing. And as far as clothing is concerned, I would stick with neutral colors or maybe monochrome colors. I would kind of ditch the neon blue, the purples, the oranges and the shocking pinks, okay? And as far as accessories are concerned, well, don't go too loud on the bangles and the bracelets, nothing that makes too much of noise. Guys, if you have a lot of body piercings on your eye, maybe a couple of extra on the ears, you might want to, just keep that for some other day and not for the day of your interview. Makeup. Oh, well, I know you girls love to wear a lot of makeup. But if you are going in for a formal interview, a professional interview, you might want to tone it down a little bit. You might want to apply nude shades of lipstick or, a little bit of less mascara, but not too much and not too much out there. Well, next, I would say you need to be very punctual. Why do I say that? Because I know a lot of potential employers and interviewers who rank punctuality or being on time as their number one requirement or prerequisite to hiring an employee, which means you don't be too late and you don't be too early either. When I say you don't be too early, I mean you kind of come early, but maybe like say 15 to 10 minutes in advance. How do you go about doing that? If you want to be, a little early, maybe 10 minutes in advance, a day prior to going in for the interview, you need to figure out the address. You need to figure out the kind of time it takes to reach there, depending on what mode of transportation you are using. So if you are getting your own car, if you are driving your way to the interview, you need to figure out the place you are going to park in and the distance it takes to walk from the car park to the elevator. Believe me, that would save you around at least 5 minutes in walking or searching time. If you are going by bus or any other public transportation, you might want to know exactly what time of the day the bus kind of comes and the train timings as well. So you need to watch out so that you are punctual, and when you come to your interview on time, you are also less stressed as opposed to being really anxious if you kind of get a little late. Sell yourself. Well, sell yourself is something that, believe it or not, we all must do, because when you are selling yourself, you are showing, you are exhibiting your credentials in front of your potential employer, which gives you the advantage over every other qualified candidate for that interview, which means you need to bring maybe multiple copies of your CV. You need to maybe also carry professional recommendations from previous employers. Or you could also carry certain awards, certain thank you notes from customers, from clients, appreciation emails, and a lot of other things which show that you've done a very good job in your previous workplace and you are going to do it again. And then you have body gestures. Well, I would say that the way a person's body is, the gesture of a person shows a lot about his thoughts. His countenance, just the appearance on his face, shows a lot about him as a person and as a professional. Which means that when I talk about body gestures, as soon as I walk in a room, I need to make sure that I wear a smile. Well, that's one of the most important things you need to do. And the handshake, when you just walk into the room, of course, you are going to shake hands with your potential employer. Is your handshake going to be, like a really gut-wrenching handshake which kind of kills the potential employer? No, you don't want to do that. You want to have a firm but a very professional handshake. On the other hand, you don't want it to be a cold, weak, clammy handshake either. So make sure you kind of, have a firm handshake and give good eye contact. Oh, why do we give good eye contact? Well, when I say eye contact, you don't want to stare at your employer like you're going to kill him or threaten him, but you need to make eye contact because a person who makes good and proper eye contact shows that he is a good listener, an active person who responds to situations. And your hand gestures, when I'm speaking, when I have these open hand gestures, it actually shows that I'm a person open to feedback, open to other recommendations, and as opposed to someone who sits like this, telling the person in front of them unconsciously that they don't want to be bothered by anything else. So you want to be really open with your hand gestures, and you also want to make sure about your posture, which means you need to have a straight back. You don't want to be slouching because, believe me, nobody wants to hire a slouch. And you want to ask questions. Well, why do you need to ask questions? You need to clear your doubts. And what kind of doubts would you need to be clearing? When you start a new job, or before you even start a new job, you have a lot of questions running in your mind. So you probably think that, what is the pay going to be like? Or what are the ethics, or what are the policies of the company? Or what are the what is the actual description of my job profile? You need to know so many things about the company. So when you ask questions, it not only shows that you have done some research on the company, which of course shows that you are very interested in the job, but it also shows that you are in a position, or you are willing to carry or to bring your skills into the company, be it technical or your speaking skills, and work wonders for the job that you are going to be hired for. This works wonders for you in getting a job because it shows how well informed and how much of knowledge you definitely have. And then you have the follow-up. Well, this of course deals with something that happens after an interview. So after you've kind of, you've done with the interview, you need to know whether you've been accepted or rejected. So I would say after a week, and you would get feedback maybe from the employer themselves up front, but sometimes a lot of employers ask you to call them or just email them, and that's when you ask them for feedback. Well, what is the necessity of asking for feedback? Well, firstly, it tells you whether you've been accepted or rejected. Now, if you've been rejected, which is something that we don't want to, happen with us, but if you have been rejected, why do you need feedback? You need to know exactly what went wrong. So you kind of take those points and make them your action points to work upon when you go in for, future interviews. If you have been accepted, I would recommend you kind of ask them what more you need to do when you start a job, or what you need to do before you come for the first day of your job. And I would recommend you send a thank you note if you are accepted or rejected, a thank you note giving them or showing that you are very grateful of getting the opportunity to be there and give the interview amongst so many other qualified candidates. Well, that's it from me on this lesson on what to do before, during, and after an interview. Well, these are the basic things you need to kind of be aware of, and I don't believe you could go wrong if you kind of stick with the basics. Well, that's it from me. I will be back with some new lessons. Until then, I'll see you. Goodbye.